Mm.
Hello, and welcome back to the Brain Changes, the podcast where we explore what it really takes to change your life from the inside out by rewiring your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. Now, today I'm joined by someone who brings together science, spirit, and a whole lot of wisdom when it comes to sleep and well-being. Dr. Sabine Christelli began her career as a molecular immunologist in Germany, researching so-called junk DNA. I'm going to probably ask you more about that soon. But her curiosity and compassion didn't stop there. Over the years, she's woven together science, sleep medicine, breath work, yoga, NLP, hypnosis, and probably more into a truly holistic approach to health. She now calls herself a holistic sleep scientist, and for good reason. Her PhD research explores sleep at the deepest level, and she combines that with practical tools that help people move from burnout and brain fog into clarity, energy, and ease. Now, Sabine believes sleep isn't just about closing your eyes, it's a bridge between science and spirit. And when we cross it well, everything else in life becomes lighter, which just sounds wonderful. Sabine has worked with everyone from high performing athletes to busy professionals, and her 9 pillars of sleep are helping people all over the world reclaim their rest, their resilience, and their joy. Sabine, I'm so delighted to have you with us here today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me and allowing me to talk about my passion. I really appreciate it a lot.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. I'm excited about this. As I was just saying to you before we started, I wanted to kind of let people know why it was that I felt it was so important that we have you on the Brain Changes podcast. You've had so many incredible experiences. You've got so much behind you, just having a read on your website. But one of the reasons I really wanted to invite you here today was because a lot of the people that I work with, sleep is something that comes up right at the beginning of our coaching. I coach, mums, dads, professionals, people in corporate, people with their own businesses, all sorts of people. And a lot of them would class themselves to begin with as overthinkers. They're struggling with anxiety. They really struggle to shut their minds down at night and get restful sleep. Even myself, I know when I've got lots going on and I'm perhaps feeling a little bit stressed, my sleep is disrupted. And so I thought, well, let's get you on here and have a chat about what is actually going on and perhaps some of the tools that you can share with us today on how to improve our sleep and the difference it's going to make.
I would love to do all that. And I really appreciate. I just need to say from the start that yes, I have researched a lot and studied a lot, but I never actually got to be a doctor, so to speak. That's
Ah,
just a label, right?
uh-huh.
And what happened is that before I decided to continue with the research, I actually decided I want to work and give my services to human beings rather than be in the corridors at university keeping on studying and spending all my life. It's very draining after a while. And because I love helping people and I go out there, my heart is in it. That's the whole reason I got my degrees, the whole reason I studied anything. Why are humans suffering? How can we help? What can we, teach each other so that we can thrive and really enjoy life? So I actually decided not to complete that and instead take the knowledge just before the ending of it and bring it out into the world rather than hide it at university. So just thought I would mention that small
Yeah,
bit.
thank you for the clarification. And I love that. I remember actually going through to get my qualifications for coaching and what have you. And there were some people in there that were so fixated on the qualifications that they would get. And what if somebody asks me what my quals are? And I sort of got to the point, I'm proud of the qualifications that I have, but it doesn't determine whether I can help someone or not. A lot of what I help people with in terms of coaching is the experience that I've had
Mhm.
with, in the 30 years or perhaps 25 years of work that came before that. So yeah, I admire you for making that decision and putting yourself out there in the world to help people. Sabine, perhaps just catch us up on how you ended up where you are now and being this holistic sleep expert.
Yes. Okay. So it's been a long journey.
Mm.
I've been around for a while. In essence, like I said just now, what happened is I did my high school, and it was, what am I gonna do with my life now? What am I gonna study? And really, my passion was breast cancer and cancer overall. I could just see so many people had it. So in a nutshell, I went and did a science degree, and I wanted to understand the immunology, the biochemistry, how the organs function. And once I finished that and did my honors degree, I realized that I barely scraped the surface. And there's all the other aspects like nutrition and mindset and lifestyle and relationships. And of course, so much more that I now can articulate. So I had to continue and study all those things in the form of, holistic therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, your passion. We're all programmed, and how we use it and how we get into it, how we self-hypnotize. And at one point, I was giving talks on how the breath, because I'm a yoga teacher, can help corporations with productivity, how it can help you to be more effective and functional. And the place where I gave that seminar on happened to be a university where they were also studying sleep. Being curious as I am, I said, "Wow, have you studied how breathing affects, sleep?" And I said, "Yeah, sort of, but not really. Why don't we have a chat?"
Mhm.
So, long story short, I had a chat and talked to a professor, and it took a year to get that all sorted. Everything's so slow sometimes. And I started, yeah, that PhD, and went delved super deep, did the research, went into all aspects, because as a PhD student, you actually have to understand the entire field and then justify that small project, which was breathing and sleep, which was my theme. So
Wow.
I came to be that. And of course, I have been a mum, and I am a mum. I know what sleep deprivation is like. I have got a father who had sleep deprivation and has Alzheimer's and is in a nursing home. I have seen how people change when they don't get enough sleep, and how they ignore it, thinking, a big stimulating drink in the
Mm.
morning or a wine at night will help you to unwind. And how society since COVID really has really sped up their lack of ability to sleep through anxiety and scrolling and all those other habits. So I feel I'm in the right position to actually combine holistically everything that contributes to healthy sleep, which includes what you do, which is the NLP, the hypnosis, and all of the functions in the brain and nervous system. So that's why I am here.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, what a journey you've had. And that's exactly, and I love what you're just saying there. And I guess this goes to, you talk about being a holistic sleep scientist, because it's being well, living well is not just about one thing. Yes, there's certain pillars. We all know that good nutrition is important. We know that moving our body is important. We know that sleep is important. We know that good mindset is important. But you can't sort of look at three of them and go, oh, well, I'm ticking 3 out of 4, so I'm
Mhm.
doing okay. I mean, you might be doing okay, but what is okay and what is exceptional? That waking up exhausted in the morning, I think, is very, very common for a lot of people. I am very familiar with that, not so much now in my what I probably call my previous life. And honestly, still guilty of the stimulating drink. When you said that, my ears pricked up, because I feel like I'm one of those people that I get pretty good sleep. My nutrition is good. I move my body, but I need that stimulating drink in the morning. What's going on when we feel that we need that, Sabine?
What's going on depends on each person, but in general, it means that maybe the sleep was not as deep as you thought it was. So a lot of people think that, well, I went to sleep at 11 and I woke up at 7, and yeah, I'm feeling reasonably good. And then there's this lethargy maybe after breakfast or when you want to have more energy. So a couple of things it could be, or maybe more than that, but one is your actual sleep quality. The quantity might have been enough, but the depth of your sleep was not as deep as it could be because you went to bed with overstimulation through perhaps that coffee or the green tea in my case,
Mhm.
or perhaps looking at an email a little bit later than maybe was a good idea, or your bank account, or having a chat with someone who's a little bit stressful, and it kind of re-triggers the nervous system so that when it's excited and there's more cortisol release, biologically, we don't go so deep after that. It's just how it is. So that's mainly what it is. The other thing can be, of course, that um, you are not getting the right nutrients, or you have a different peak of activity. Maybe you're more productive in the afternoon. Some people are more productive in the morning. That's the different chronotype. So it could be that as well. Maybe you need morning sunlight. Some people get up and don't get that. And that really wakes you up and gets you into the day and activates your circadian. So and it could also be for some people, they do eat a really sweet, and not that you would, but wheat bix with sugar on top would really cause a slump and it's not energizing. So things like that can also contribute. There's so many little things. But does any of that kind of ring any bells or so?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's certainly for me, there's lots of different things I go, okay, could try that or could try changing that. The morning sunshine, that type of thing. So I guess what I'm hearing here is there is no one size fits all when it comes to sleep, anything really, but even with sleep, there are certainly things that we can all try, but to get things just right for us, we need to tweak little things. And I think that's what we talk about here at the Brain Changes. Not everybody is looking for a massive life transformation. A lot of things are good in our life, but we're looking for those little tweaks, those little one percenters that are going to make a big difference. And
Exactly.
you talked about that spike in cortisol in the evening if we've had perhaps a conversation with a friend who's a bit stressed, or we've read that email or looked at our bank account, all of those things. And I know you're a breathwork facilitator, and this is something I talk about a lot with my clients. How can breathing, even a simple breathwork exercise before bed, really help us?
Huge, huge, huge. That's one of the best tools you have for free available. So, having taught Kundalini yoga for nearly 15 years, the key is the breath. The key is your ability to navigate your nervous system and calm it down, but also activate it when you want to. So, right now, even while you're listening to this podcast, first of all, you will calm your nervous system if you breathe lower into the body. It's very stress response like when you're in the upper body. So maybe placing your hands on your belly and feeling that as you inhale through the nose, that your belly expands is a big reset. So inhale, let your belly expand through the nose. Exhale through the nose, draw the belly back towards the spine and take as long as you can. If you can take another few seconds and hold the breath out and then inhale for a count of five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep it in the belly, hold it shortly. Exhale for a count of 7. 1, slow, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it briefly. Stay soft in your body and exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the longer exhale will activate the relaxation response, healing and repair. And if you are having a longer inhale than the exhale, that kind of stress breathing, you will activate the other side, which is preparing you to deal with problems like running away from a bull or a tiger or whatever the metaphor could be, which could be the email or the conversation, or maybe watching the news, or even being exposed to too much bright light. So that breath work right now, exhaling longer than the inhale and allowing yourself to feel the belly is very grounding for the nervous system, and it will have an instant effect. It can be a reset at lunchtime, in the morning, and before bed, or in the shower, whatever you do. No excuses. We can do this.
Exactly. No excuses. And, I just did those few breaths while you were counting, and thank you. I noticed even for those actually watching this as a video as opposed to listening to the podcast, I could see your body moving just with the breath there. And I was following it along myself. And even just with those few, I have felt my self-calm. Because
Straight away.
I get excited when I interview people with, for the podcast, but even that, I just noticed that I am calmer than when we first dialed in. So, like you say, there's no excuses. That took 30 seconds, maybe, if that. Um, wasn't even in a quiet space, or you don't have to be alone. You don't have to be in
Exactly.
a yogic pose or anything like that. Like you say, you could even do it in the shower. You can calm your breathing down while you're driving in the car if you're finding yourself getting really worked up with traffic.
Doing the dishes, anything you do,
Anything.
anything, and you will actually have a higher intelligence. And I like to highlight that to people that are very intelligent and intellectual. I say you actually tap into a higher intelligence that's much more creative and open-minded to spontaneous innovations and solutions that you can't see when you are breathing shallow. Literally, because you are, when you're breathing shallow, looking for problems. The body is designed in the fight or flight to do a scan for issues and why life is difficult, and you're going to get trapped in that, versus if you're an entrepreneur or a mother that has to deal with lots of things, or a father, anything like that in
Mm.
life. If you breathe slow, your ego self might say, oh, I'm going to slow down and go to sleep.
Mm.
If you could, but you're not going to, you're actually going to feel grounded, safe, and the higher intelligence inside you will be activated. So keep that in mind. Great stuff.
So many things to learn about this. I'm absolutely fascinated by what the breath can do for us. And like you said at the very beginning, it is free. We can do this anywhere, anytime. Of course, we're focusing on sleep today, and this is one of those surefire things. And I know this from personal experience as well. If you are finding it difficult to go to sleep, to have that restful sleep, to even feel good when you wake up the next morning, then this is one of the first things that you can do that's easy to do. It's free, it doesn't take a lot of time. Sabine, I know that in a previous podcast you've done, you shared that at around 45%, I think of it is, 45% of people globally are experiencing sleep disturbances due to stress and overthinking. So, why do you think this is? Why is this happening? Has it always been a thing? Or, like you said, is this more because of what's been happening in the world the last few years?
It's a combination. I feel that the more we research it, the more we get the facts that perhaps people weren't looking at. I feel that humans always had reasons to be stressed, yes. But these days, because of the internet and the artificial lighting and longer working hours, and of course, globally, there seems to be higher levels of stress. All you have to do is switch on the news and you probably won't sleep.
Mm,
I feel like life has changed for people, and I feel the pandemic had an effect. Definitely, there was a real change in people during and afterwards. And of course, the innovation of artificial intelligence, which is accelerating, that all gets us into a mindset that is very dopamine hit oriented. It's very much being on a screen, and it's not natural. We're disturbing our circadian rhythms, and we've got more information than we are designed to cope with. So we have to literally counter that by using the breath, by journaling, by being aware that we have to, I guess, have those boundaries, which is part of one of my pillars. We need to have conscious boundaries on how much we're actually loading up into our brain, so to speak, or into our worry system or trying to survive system. Otherwise, we are just going to be totally stressed and not sleep. And of course, as you know, and you're probably going to get into it, the side effects on our not just mental health, but biological health are not good.
no.
Sorry to say, but there are solutions. So I'm also going to
Yes.
say that straight away. Mm.
Yes, exactly. Of course. I think everything we talk about here, this is why we do the work that we do, right? Is because we know there are solutions. We're
Mhm.
not here to say that we're going to get to a point where there's nothing bad is ever going to happen, or we're never going to feel stress, or we're never going to feel sad. We're
Mhm.
not saying that. We're simply saying there is a different way to live. There is a different way to find your way through those particular situations. We don't have to fall in a heap or get stuck in a hole, or get to the point, because this is what I see happens. And I know this is what happened to me, Sabine, but I hit the proverbial rock bottom.
Mhm.
And it's a lot harder to climb out of that space when you're so far at the bottom. It's like, why do we wait until we hit that? How can we actually encourage ourselves and other people to say, look, I'm probably doing okay, but I'd like to do better. I'm not going to wait until I hit that proverbial rock bottom. You know, you hear a lot of people say, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, yeah,
A lot
wow.
of people are
No.
saying it in jest, and they're
Mhm.
like, oh, there's so many exciting things to do. But why is that saying a bit of a problem?
So off the charts. Number one, if you're sleep deprived, whatever you're trying to enjoy, you're not going to enjoy it to the actual depth. You're
Mm,
going to be rushing, like I've seen people, they come to retreats, I've worked there, and they find that they need 2 weeks to unwind because they are still recovering from lack of sleep and they're still planning and they actually can't sit and enjoy what they're wanting to enjoy. So, number one, in that saying, it's not true. If you don't sleep, you don't know how to stop and smell the roses and see the beautiful sunset and just be present to the moment, which is an everyday gift, not just for when you go on holiday. But yes, one of the reasons is, and you would always talk about this, I'm sure as well, is because somehow people think they're going to get away with it. And unless stress hits, they don't take the time to reflect and go, hang on, what is my trajectory? Where am I actually heading here? Because you need to actually wind down to assess where our life is heading. And that's where the journaling comes in, a reflection on where am I heading and is this getting better or am I actually just keeping up a similar pattern? And is this perhaps what my parents did? Very often it's what our parents did as well, or an important person that was bringing us up.
mhm.
And then it's really about awareness and self-reflection. And unless people do that, the more stressed people are, the less likely they're going to do that. And that's where I've noticed my suggestion is always these are small things that you can do, like having a shower before bed, breathing for 2 minutes. Try it and give yourself the gift because the biology responds and it's designed to need that so it can go into healing and repair. So I have to keep telling people I've learned over time it needs to be quick and effective and easy. And I can explain the science and the biology and the gold mine that is linked with that. And then afterwards, people go, okay, okay, okay. And look, sometimes you need to scare people and say, like my mum, my beautiful, cute mum, she's just ignored her health for a while and got away with a lot. But now she's watching my dad in the nursing home, and somehow she has this illusion that she's not heading in that direction. And I sometimes highlight, Mum, you could only have one fall. You can, with your lack of sleep, you might not make the right decision somewhere, and something happens. She's already nearly 80, and
Mm.
so it's very easy to end up in hospital and then for other things to start happening, and all of a sudden you're there. If you get your sunlight and your sleep, and then do a bit of work on your feet to get your balance back, you can have another 20 years versus if you ignore that. Da, 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 da. Anyway, so sometimes I have to mention that. And
Yes.
then she goes, I'm getting my morning sunlight because I don't want to end up in that nursing home. I don't want to get Alzheimer's. I don't want to have a horrible aging process. So sometimes people need to hear that, unfortunately, to go, okay, okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah, look, I think we all need a reminder sometimes, don't we? Even those of us who do this for a living, we've got to have a reminder that to do the things. I absolutely agree. And I love that you gave that example about your mum. You know, you said before in terms of breathing before bed, there's no excuses, it's free, it's easy. Age is not an excuse either, is it? We can start this anytime, at any age, to make an impact on however many years it is that we have left. And perhaps it could even it could prolong our life, but talking more about quality as well, the quality of our life could be improved or will be improved.
100% being present to what the beauty is around you or making the right decisions about your health and so many things that are linked with that. It is really about the quality of life, not so much the quantity. The quantity and quality can go together, but it is impactful. And really, I love to remind people, your body repairs itself every 7 years. You practice something, your body is highly responsive. Don't listen to any of the people that say, oh, you're too old. It's simply not true. There are many that have transformed their life significantly and started a whole new chapter.
Yes, exactly. Actually, that leads me to a question, Sabine, talking about introducing some of these little things, and I'd love to understand some more of these ideas from you. But how long do we need to do one of these things, like start breathing for 2 minutes before bed, or have that shower before bed, or whatever the other wonderful ideas you're going to give us are, before we start noticing a difference?
I know this will sound insane. I know. But within a day, I have worked with people that have said, now that I've seen you, I actually felt like I could handle sleep. I didn't feel so out of control. I felt that the benefit would be great. I could surrender to it. I did 3 micro habits. So that could be the shower, magnesium spray, and a bit of breathing. And just knowing it's possible, they said, I've had the best sleep in the last 10 years. And I never expected it to be. I thought maybe after a few days.
Yeah.
Literally the next morning, a lot of people, some people might take longer. I'm not saying like
Yeah.
that, that's for everyone. But just the empowerment to
Yeah.
know you can is actually massive for people. And then the effect of having deeper sleep, your body straight away feels better, like more energetic, maybe more mental clarity. The body really is amazing. It's a total miracle of how much we can get away with doing crazy things to it and harming it on some level, and then how much it responds when you actually give it that nervous system regulation again. That's all it
Mm.
needs. So
Yeah.
really quickly, really quickly.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it? It can be instantaneous. And I totally resonate with that. Even just making the decision that you're going to do something different, it takes this weight off.
Mhm.
Brings this relief. I even had this with somebody that I had a discovery call with a little while ago. And before she'd even made the decision to, yes, I want to be coached by you, she already felt better.
Mhm.
That because we make that decision, it's like our body just goes, oh, thank goodness, there's help on the way.
Yes, and
Right?
that is huger than we realize.
Yes.
Massive. That is really what I want your audience to hear. Just making the decision and taking the smallest step will take off so much weight and tension in your jaw, in your face, in your mind, and a sense of hopelessness away from you.
Mm.
That in itself has your body taking a big breath and a huge relief in all the organs, in your digestion, in your breathing, in your mental health. We are just amazing.
We
Yes.
are. And our body is very forgiving, but let's give it a little bit of a helping hand along the way. So, with that in mind, can you talk us through a couple of other of these little micro habits and what they are, why they're important, and the difference we can expect to see and feel from them?
Well, one of the things that you just inspired me to say was that it's really good to connect with what gave you joy when you were younger,
Yes.
because everyone's going to be different. Some people will want to do art at night or play, put the candles on and play Scrabble, and it's relaxing for them. For someone else, it's not. So finding out what gives you joy and perhaps things you've let go of from when you grew up as a child or a teenager to now I'm being an adult and I'm just going to be serious, that kind of strange paradigm. That will really help. So anyone's listening, write down the things that made you feel great. I've met people that for example, started fishing again when I was talking with them. They said, fishing to me is a meditation, he said. And I'm going to make an effort to go once a week or so because I've totally ignored that. And I haven't realized that my lack of sleep can be fixed just by having a regular time to myself to go fishing. So, micro habits will be I can give you a smorgasbord, but the easiest one will be having a bath at night or a shower,
Mhm.
using magnesium because it will relax your nervous system, and we are all magnesium depleted due to stress, and that's going to calm everything and really accelerate your ability to feel tired and sleep well.
Mm.
For some people, it can be singing, using your voice and reducing vagal stress so that the vagus tone will relax. You could go, oh, ah, or just humming, and feeling the relaxation. For some people, it can be a good morning routine so that you get up the same time in the morning, try to get your sunlight. For some people, that's life changing. It sets your circadian rhythm. And in the night, you have a proper sleep drive, and honoring that will be important, going to bed at a similar time within half an hour or so, because you're programmed exactly like your laptop and your phone. If you give yourself that same pattern, your body will respond within 3 to 4 days and will yawn at the same time. Mine is at 9 o'clock, because at 9:30, I'm meant to be in my bed and I'm usually asleep around quarter to 10, 10 on
Wow.
average, and I wake up refreshed around 7. So another important one that people don't realize, and I didn't realize it, is, oh, I'll just have a sleep in. I feel so
Mhm.
delicious. And yes, it feels delicious, but often you feel really sapped for the rest of the
Yeah.
day and your circadian rhythm is out of whack. And that can take a week to reset for some people. Yeah, essentially for the whole pattern of your sleep cycles. So, what other habits?
Mhm.
You could make sure dinner is further away from your sleep time.
Mhm.
That's a really healthy habit. You could make a curfew with alcohol and try to have it much earlier if you're going to have it in the day so it is processed. I always suggest try to have it on a Saturday lunchtime or Sunday and try not to have alcohol during the week because it suppresses your sleep quality powerfully, especially for women and of also men, yes, but women in particular, even a glass of wine, especially postmenopausal women, 40s, 50s, 60s, they always go 100%. They don't have to even do the research. Everyone is affected. And the moment they change that, sleep is much deeper. And of course, she wakes up feeling more beautiful and radiant. And
Yeah.
that in itself is a gift.
Yeah.
So yeah, changing the lighting at night is a new habit. Notice if 2 hours before bed, you can have candlelight ambience, which is what we're programmed to neurologically observe and relax with. So keeping your lights very dim, having maybe light bulbs that are orange or red, dimming in the kitchen and in your bathroom, especially. A lot of people brush their teeth under very bright conditions, re-stimulating themselves just before bedtime.
So you can do all of these beautiful things and then walk into your bedroom, your bathroom to brush your teeth and like, bing, you're awake again.
Get a cortisol release because the light is even perceived through the top of your head, through your eyes, through the skin. It perceives all light, and you will wonder why, unless you're completely exhausted,
Mm.
why you feel another burst of, again, went to bed. I was really tired. Why am I lying here like this? It's a deep frustration for for quite a few people.
Yeah, that there's so many things in there, and I'm having so many little light bulb moments in here. I absolutely love this, Sabine. The one that you talked about in terms of having that sleep in, sometimes, well, for most people, I guess it will be on the weekends. Obviously, for some people who perhaps work for themselves, like we do, we might be tempted to do it through the week. I remember reading about that a number of years ago now, and I thought, right, I'm going to experiment with this myself.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't class myself as a morning person, right? I don't like to label myself, but I love staying in bed. It's cozy. My dogs come up and cuddle me. I'm more of a night owl. But I thought, right, when I wake up, I'm going to get up. And do you know what? Instantly, I lost that brain fog. I lost that it was almost like a depressed state that like this blanket in my brain when I was sleeping in or when I was going back to sleep. And I wondered why I was always like this and why I was always like plodding through my day. And it was that change, as much as I had to really encourage, I'm not going to say force, really encourage myself to get out of bed at that time. I no longer felt that what I'd put down to a depression.
Mm-hmm.
That is a really important one. That's a question I want to ask with that, Sabine. Can you actually catch up on sleep? If you're not sleeping as much as you perhaps should, or you're not sleeping well through the week for a variety of reasons, can you actually catch up on the weekend, or is that a bit of a myth?
Yeah, it's a myth. It will take a bit of time. The best way to catch up, so to speak, in inverted commas, is
Mhm.
to actually get into a good rhythm again. So getting up at sunrise or when the sun is up as early as you can. Get the sunlight, so the body reprograms. That's the same with jet lag. And go to bed after sunset and do the habits. Your body will actually adjust really quickly and feel very nourished and safe to have a deep sleep. Because remember, your sleep will connect with your circadian rhythm. And if that is in alignment and you are relaxed, you will have a good deep sleep sooner. And then the brain detoxes.
Mhm.
That's what causes the brain fog when we have disrupted sleep and we're trying to catch up by sleeping in and all those things. the brain doesn't actually recover from that unless you are sick. I always say if you're sick or you've been through trauma,
Mhm.
cancer or loss, yes, you will need more sleep because you're processing a lot, and listen to that.
Yes.
If you are having an everyday sort of life with all the usual stress, it's much better. Your body thrives on doing the same thing and you will recover quickly then. So the glymphatic system, not just the lymph under the armpits, but the glymphatic system in the brain actually washes through every single night. And the more you don't sleep well, the more you're going to be foggier, have memory issues, and mood. It is linked with depression. They are linking it strongly with that, which is exactly what you described now so beautifully. And you'll be wondering, what's going on? I'm having a relaxing morning. I'm giving myself that little delicious wake up, and it's slow and I can do it. And it's unfortunately, I've done the same thing. Afterwards, I always think, God, I look worse and I feel worse. And getting up in the morning, I actually look better and feel better. So we must consciously learn that and turn it around and just go to bed a little earlier at night, wind down at night. That would be my advice. So just give yourself that break when you feel groggy. Hang in until tonight. Have a nice simple meal. Meditate, relax, have a shower, make a sleeping ritual, and
Mm.
your body will adjust infinitely more easier and better and naturally. Yeah.
Wonderful advice there, and lots of things we can try. And you mentioned earlier your 9 pillars to your best sleep.
Mhm.
You might have covered some of these already in our chat, but can you give us a bit of a broad overview, or is there one pillar that we should focus in on? Where should we start with your 9 pillars?
Well, I love the 9 pillars because I've combined everything I've ever done as Sabine
Hmm.
into those that I know affects our health. So it's not superficial, but you're absolutely right. Some people will just work with one pillar. So the first one is, I'll just run roughly through them
Yes.
in a nutshell. So the first one is having profound, is very important, is having the awareness. And the awareness is all about, you know, how much sleep will benefit you, and you know how much lack of sleep will hurt you and cost you money and time, and mental health and life quality. So that is important because otherwise you're going to hear me speak, or you, and you're going to go, oh, wow, that was interesting, but meh, don't take any action. So the awareness is key. Once you have the awareness, I probably could sleep better. I probably am ignoring some of the signs. Okay, cool. Now you can work on the awareness and your why and why you want to step into it. So that's my NLP hypnosis type of
Yes.
stuff. Then light. So that's really important. How you navigate light, morning light, evening, how artificial light, we call it blue junk light, which
Mhm.
affects it's actually worse than junk food. Some scientists say it's
Wow.
really because it disturbs you from even being able to absorb your good quality food. And the same is stress. If you are eating all the best food and spending money on gourmet nutrition and supplements and you're stressed or not sleeping well, you will not absorb those things. So it's more
Mhm.
of a waste. You will actually ferment that food and end up causing waste products. So I also remind people of that. That's why sleep is more important than nutrition, initially, at least.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we've got the light. And so exercise, obviously, is the next one. Movement. The body is designed to move. So I help people find their favorite way of moving and one that actually helps with sleep. We don't want to go to the gym at 10 o'clock, like
Yeah.
some young people in my household try to do, and then somehow expect to sleep by 11 or 12.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah, they're getting away with it because they're younger, but it's not really healthy. You want to do your exercise more in the morning and you want to do stretching, stress release things,
Mhm.
breathing, yoga in the evening if that. The next one is, of course, food and digestion. Gut health is linked with sleep, and sleep with gut health. It's a two-way street, like most things. So, when we look at what foods actually work for your unique system, everyone's going to be different. Like, I can eat dairy, some people will be completely in strife. So, it's about what works. How does your digestion feel? If you write in a sleep diary what you've eaten and how you feel in the morning, you're going to discover very quickly what's disturbing you from sleeping well. So, food, when you eat it, how you eat it, da da da. And then comes liquids. And so, how do we hydrate? Do we take stimulants and energy drinks? Do we have herbal supplements? When do we have them? Again, not just before bed, 2 hours before bed. A lot of people hydrate before bed and then have to get up at night to go
Mhm.
to the bathroom because they've stimulated the kidneys.
Mm.
So I also remind people to have a curfew on that. It makes your sleep so much better, and you don't have to pitter patter out and stumble around and try not to switch on the bright lights. It
Yep.
really helps. It's important. Yeah. And then the next one is your environment. I talk about your sleep environment where again, here comes the whole combination. It's not just about not having dust or the right pillow. It's also about, do you really love your bedroom? Do you
Yes.
enjoy going to bed? Is it your sanctuary? You
Yeah.
spend a third of your life there. And if you make that into your sanctuary, they say it's more important than your kitchen and your living room that everyone spends all that money on, or their garden. You spend a third of your life in there to rejuvenate and be your best. So I talk to people about, can you take that old clutter out? Can you change your bed sheets to something really simple that you actually enjoy and gives you a zen space, a relaxation sense? And
Mm.
so that's a whole topic with couples, especially with different tastes.
Mm.
It's very interesting. And it also includes the right pillows. And, some people like heavy and they feel safe. Other people need very light and really going, wow, that's for some people, it's a heavy blanket. That is a
Mm.
tweak that changes everything.
Mm.
Unbelievably amazing. So then the other one is resources. Having resources is one of my pillars. Feeling like if this doesn't work, what else can I try? It's not a one fits all, and I've got a smorgasbord. It's like you go into a restaurant and you're not just looking at one thing, you've got 20 things and you know exactly, oh, I love the green peas. Oh, I don't like the cherries. And you can choose things that work for your unique lifestyle. So feeling you've got resources, recordings that can guide you, journaling prompts, supplements that you might want to explore. Lots of incredible things I've researched and put into
Mm-hmm.
one thing because not everyone knows about the dark cherry juice or the infrared that can really help you to sleep. There's just incredible resources, books, meditations, blah, blah, blah. Then
Mm-hmm.
there's boundaries and nervous system. That's the ninth pillar. Sorry, that's the eighth pillar. And that's all about making sure your nervous system is harmonizing towards the end of the day. And you have boundaries, i.e., you don't call the stressful friend after a certain time, or you don't check your bank, or you don't look at the news. It's really just simple. That's something I'm not doing because I'm honoring my sleep. So, super important, keeping your nervous system balanced after 6 o'clock and working on enjoying the fact that sleep is a 2 hour process.
Mm.
Don't notice that. They think, oh, yeah, I'm tired. Boom, pick the pillow. It's a 2 hour process to get your maximum deep REM, slow wave, all the goodies, all the brain that goes through detoxing with the clock genes. I'm making these signs around my
Yes.
body here. But it starts at 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, and it heals and integrates different proteins, enzymes, hormones. And if you're always waking up between 3 and 4, you're missing out on a certain type of repair and you will be feeling that in your health over time.
Mm-hmm.
Last one, not last, and then we've got the unconscious mind, which you know all about.
Yes.
So this is all about what was your childhood like? Did you have trouble sleeping? Were your grandparents escaping the war and they had to stay awake so they wouldn't get killed? We inherit those things and carry them. I've worked with a lot of people that said, I've never slept well, neither does my sister. And yes, there was a lot of war trauma, and we feel like we are never safe to sleep, and we can unwind that. We can
Yes.
move that. Self-hypnosis, how you talk about sleep is all part of that. Then the last two are the bonuses. That's your chronotype, which
Mm-hmm.
is finding out what is your inherent pattern of sleep and how that works with your circadian patterns and synchronizing that and doing like the important work when you are optimized rather than trying to be a morning person when you're actually a midday person or an evening person. And then the last bonus in that pillar is that I have created a little sleep diary so that you can be your own scientist and actually realize, wow, Sabine, when I don't take this or when I do that, I slept better. And you become your own researcher and become, enjoying your own journey in your unique way. You don't have to pay someone to do that. So these are the pillars. And I believe that they will do everything short of you needing surgery, your nose being blocked or
Mm.
something like this. But even that we can work with, and I can give you suggestions, sleep apnea, all these kinds of things. Goodness me, sorry, that was a lot of stuff, but here we
Oh, that's so good. I've written them all down. So we've got awareness, light, exercise or movement, food digestion, liquids, environment, resources, boundaries on the nervous system and the unconscious mind. And then, of course, I love that you've got bonuses. I love bonuses, talking about your chronotype and that sleep diary. And what I really love about that, Sabine, and thank you for going into so much detail. My mind is just buzzing, and I'm excited to. I know you've got something on your website that we can download, and I'll ask you about that in a moment. What I loved about what you said there is become your own researcher.
Mhm.
The reason I love that is because we do rely on a lot on people to just give us the answer. I mean, as coaches, we expect people to come to us and ask, ask for help. And we are simply there, of course, as a guide.
Mhm.
There is a difference between a counselor, a psychologist, a coach, a mentor, all of these things. We are there as a guide. But it is so important for all of us to become our own guide as well, our own researcher. And when we talk about research, it's not just typing something into Google or ChatGPT these days and taking the first answer. Don't get me wrong, I love AI, I love chat. I'm a Googler from way back. But taking the first answer or the second answer is not research, right? We need to understand where to find information to become an advocate for ourselves. If we do go to an expert, and I'm going to put that in quotations as well, an expert or a specialist,
Mhm.
if the answer doesn't feel right to us, it is okay to go looking for another answer. We know our bodies better than anybody else. And it's important that we take responsibility for ourselves rather than just
Mhm.
taking information on and I guess believing it as gospel. Like you were saying, there's so much there that probably many people have never thought of. The Your example of generational trauma and how that has an impact or could have an impact on our sleep. Even though we weren't there, that wasn't a problem that we have had to deal with firsthand, but
Mhm.
it could actually have an impact. So
Exactly. It
that,
does.
yeah, that was one thing at the end there that I really picked up on. Be your own researcher, and I love that you've provided a tool for that. Um, so if someone was to if someone is listening at the moment, Sabine, and they go, well, that's great. You've just given me 9 pillars to concentrate on and some bonuses, but I'm super busy, Sabine. I'm a mum or a dad. I work a full-time job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How can we simplify it for them? What would be the first thing to concentrate on so that they don't have this big to-do list of things? Because as you know, that's often where people just go, it's too hard, they procrastinate rather than do something, I'm going to do nothing. Where can we start?
Okay, so the first thing is I've actually created that online course with exactly that person in mind because that's the thing I keep hearing. I
Yeah.
want to know what's going on, but I also want to know what I can do, and I don't want to get complicated. Some people want to do a coaching and they really want to deep dive and get rid of the subconscious aspects.
Yeah.
But I have actually designed it so that each module, I'm going to give you tips as well, but each module is literally a 5-minute video of me.
Fantastic.
Then there's a PDF that you can go through and deep dive, which is one page
Mhm.
for each module. And of course, the resources and little recordings to help you breathe. Because I know we need a scaffolding. There's so much information, overwhelm, and busyness that unless we trust someone, because I guess they have to feel the vibe that they can trust me, that I'm in it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And then exploring that and making it affordable as well. Some people said you should charge thousands. I said, no, I want people to reach this. I want people to be able to get the benefit.
Mhm.
So I'm primarily, not in it for the money at all. I'm in it to see humans thrive. That's what's driven my entire life. And it's not an ego thing. It's truly what it is. So what I would say is that um, reflect on those pillars and decide which one is the easiest, most basic to
Mm.
do, right? Because you want a win situation. So if that means for you to start with that shower instead of in the morning at night, if that means applying magnesium spray to your body, I promise you it's very effective. If that means just that breath or dimming your lights down, if that's all you can do, it's actually powerful. And the trick is, and you and I both know this as coaches, it's not the knowledge, it's actioning it. So
Yeah.
start with the smallest thing, even if it means, okay, I'm going to do a morning and evening walk because you have a dog or whatever. I think dogs are all rescuing humans out there.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, and cats too, of course, they're so cuddly. But maybe eating dinner just half an hour earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe writing down gratitude before bed, just three things you're grateful for. These are small tweaks, but micro neuro habits is what I'm all about. I've studied the neurology, so have you. So
Mhm.
you've got that support. Tell your coaches, I have got no time, but I really want to do this. What are the basics? And sometimes it's about being kept accountable, which
Mm.
is also why I have created this course on a platform where you're automatically part of a membership and you get to see me once a week live. So you can ask me questions. I've tried to create what I would want and
Yes.
what even someone with minimum finances and minimum time and even huge skepticism would say, well, I've got nothing much to lose except maybe $100 or so, right?
Yeah.
So choose what gives you joy. Maybe listen to a meditation at night. Decide to switch off stress after 7 o'clock. I'm sure everyone listening can find something like this. It doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
If you've got more money, change your light bulbs, get infrared sauna lights going. There's lots of things if you've got the money. That could be easier because sometimes I'll just say that as the last thing. Sometimes it's easier to sit in front of an infrared light and switch
Mhm.
it on because it's least to do and you
Mhm.
can afford to get to spend $700 or $500 for one.
Mhm.
But your mind knows that one I can do.
Mm.
Find that and ask yourself that question and start. That's it. Start today, write it down and just begin. That's it. I'm sure you would say the same thing.
I would look, everything that you've said. I'm like, you can see me. I'm nodding. I'm like,
Nodding.
yes, yes, yes. We are on the same page. We are talking about the same stuff. You are, I just love this. You're cementing what it is that I love talking to people about, and that this is why I wanted to have you on the podcast. Because of course, the more that we hear the same thing, the more it sticks in our mind. Of course, repetition is key. That's how we build a muscle. That includes our brain muscle, and then consistency. But the one thing that you've said today is the most important is what is the one action you're going to take from here? And I encourage all of our listeners to, you've just had us for about 40 minutes or so from everything that you've heard today. What is the one easiest, and I love that was the easiest or the simplest thing that you can take from our conversation today and implement into your life tonight? You don't have to wait till tomorrow or the weekend to think about it or next week or when you have holidays. There is something in here for everyone and you can implement it tonight. So thank you so much for going into so much detail, Sabine.
I would add a small little in brackets to
Yep.
that. If you can make it something that you don't need anyone else to depend upon, very good, right?
Yeah.
So ideally, don't say, oh, they are gonna do this and then I can do this. If you do have that situation, then negotiate. If you can
Yeah.
help me with this and support that, i.e., let me be before sleep in my own bubble of whatever, that really helps. But ideally, make it so that no one else can interfere with your choice and you can really own it. Even if you go to work, make sure you get that lunchtime sunlight or maybe then journal three things you're grateful for. If you can't get it at your home life, try to get it when you've got that space and enable yourself or negotiate with your family and loved ones.
Absolutely. And share this episode with them. If you're trying to make a change to your sleep, or what I actually want to say also is that yes, we're focused on sleep, but everything that we've just talked about here has an impact on every area in your life. You can take what the suggestions that Sabine has given or the conversations that we've had and apply them to other areas in your life. But share this episode with your
Oh,
family members or with your work colleagues and say, I'm trying to make a change. This is why it's so important. Actually, if you could you put this podcast on in the car and listen to it, it'll give you a really good understanding of what it is I'm trying to do and why I'm trying to do it. And I would love your support. People love to help, don't they, Sabine? They
oh,
love
and
to help.
I've got a super naughty ending that you really inspire me, Rebecca. You can also put a little wink on and say, okay, libido will improve. Hello.
Oh,
And
yeah.
people would say, oh, thanks very much. What can we do? Being able to conceive, wanting to get pregnant will improve with better sleep.
Yeah.
Cooking dinner, if your kids don't like what you're cooking, you could say, well, I'm going to cook a lot nicer and a lot more creatively if I've had good sleep. Studies in your children or whatever they're going through will improve, and your overall health and level of joy will
Yeah.
increase for sure. So the benefit is that gold mine. It is an infinite gold mine. Invest in it.
And who doesn't want to feel more joyful, feel happier, feel healthier? Even if you're already feeling these things, what's the next level that you can now move to?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sabine. If people want to get in touch with you, I know we'll put the details in the show notes, but where's the best place to find you?
Look up Sabine Christelli, so Sabine. It's a German name, and Christelli, CHRISTLLI.com, or just research Sabine Christelli sleep. It will come up in a search.
Yes.
And I've got lots of free resources and videos, and of course, things you can pay for a little bit as well to sustain my livelihood. Only kidding. Yes, well, it's true. But yes, check that out. You'll find me all over the place in LinkedIn and Facebook, and I try to be everywhere a little bit.
You
So,
are. Yes, it's lovely. Thank you so much for your time today, Sabine. We hope that you have enjoyed sharing this with our listeners. And listeners, we hope that you've enjoyed this episode with Sabine and myself. And remember, as always, when you change your mind, you change your life. Bye for now, everyone.
oh, thank you.
Oh, Sabine, thank you so much. I'll just keep the recording going, otherwise my internet goes funny, but I'll cut this part off. But thank you so much. I loved that conversation.
Me too. Oh God, and I'm sure people will feel that.
I think they will, yes.
Makes a huge difference.
I just kept having different clients pop into my head. I know one is just, I sent her something about magnesium spray just the other day, and she was asking me questions. So I'll be saying, listen to this. I had somebody else asking me about another thing that you talked about. So I can just see myself sending this to so many people saying, the answers you need are in here.
Isn't that nice? There's your little gift from me. And then of course after that, there's this lovely accountability and support because change is not always easy for people. I understand. It's that whole process of the unconscious. Oh, goodness me.
Oh, there's so much to unpack in there, but I've learned a lot today. It's reinforced even a lot for myself. I'm excited to make a few changes myself. And you just have so much to offer, Sabine. The work that you do is wonderful. Your knowledge is incredible. And yeah, I'm so grateful for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you. And you're amazing at podcasting and and inviting the questions and inspiring me and sharing your big heart with your audience. And
Thank
oh, it makes
you.
me emotional and just we are the same really in that.
Yeah, it's funny. We hardly know each other. I think I've only met you once or twice in the flesh, and yet today I just thought, I need more time with you. I just want to be in your space. So
We can
yes,
uplift each other and keep each other going when times are tough.
exactly. Yes, exactly. So thank you. I will let you go. I don't have a date yet for this. I just have to get back to my calendar. Like I said, get back to my rhythm. But as soon as I've got a date that will release it, and it will be soon, I will let you know. And of course, we put it on social media. If you're able to share it with your network, that would be wonderful.
Really?
Yeah, all of the usual things.
Yes. Oh, I'm passionate about sharing all this.
Thank you. And yeah,
Oh,
have you got any questions for me or anything I can?
no, but I look forward to sharing it and talking about it and getting the video yours and then also being able to use it to cut up some episode parts from that. I look forward
Yep,
to all that as well.
absolutely.
Mm.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You,
And I look forward to seeing you at Freedom Friday soon.
I better write it in my diary. Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Ciao.
Ciao.